Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Today I'm starting a new series, a big project I've been working on, something I've been excited to work on and do videos on. And it is on my favorite band of all time, the Beatles, and it is ranking every single song of the Beatles, which is quite a thing to take. It's a lot of songs to have to go through and try to figure out where they are on my ranking. Of course, huge Beatle fan, favorite band of all time, greatest music of all time. When I put up my favorite songs of all time, it's mostly Beatles songs. I mean, definitely most influential band, biggest impact on rock and roll music. No one comes even close to what they've done, I think, between 1962 and 1970 in those 8 years and 13 albums. So I've always wanted to go through them and just kind of, I love making lists and rankings, so this is kind of the ultimate ranking list. I came up with 213 songs that they have recorded. Took all the songs from all their albums, also took the songs from the singles that they came out with, which I came off of Past Masters 1 and 2. So all of that. Plus, I added 2 songs from Anthology, Real Love and Free as a Bird. Since all 4 Beatles technically worked on them, I'm counting them as Beatles songs. There's a lot of Beatles songs on the anthologies that I didn't add onto my list. I don't really think of as official songs. Anyway, so that's why I came up with 213 songs anyways on my list. I should say that there's another YouTuber that I've been watching and really enjoying his videos. He's doing another ranking of all the Beatles songs, which he's been doing for a while. I say he's now up to his top 10, so he's done over 200 songs already, and he's going to do his top 10 eventually here. Anyways, which I'm excited to see. It's been a fun video to watch. The YouTuber, he's from Austria. I hope I pronounced his name right. It looks like Stefan Redelsteiner, and his YouTube video is Stefan Redelsteiner Experience. And so definitely check that YouTube channel out, and see his list. He has a list himself. And ours have similarities, a lot of differences. All Beatles fans have differences in what their favorite songs are. And one person's favorite song or least favorite song is another person's favorite song. Kind of goes like that. Anyways, but I've really enjoyed getting to talk to him on his channel and commenting. We commented back and forth, and really enjoy his comments. Anyways, and watching his videos. So I hope he's watching this and sees what he thinks about my list compared to his. Anyways, so yes, so thank you a lot, Stefan Redelsteiner. And the source material that I've really been using is this I got a while back. The complete Beatles songs, the stories behind every track written by the 5/4. It's kind of a must for a Beatle fan if you want to get the meaning behind each song. Also has all the lyrics, so you read the lyrics, read who wrote it or why they wrote it, where the origins are. Anyways, that's kind of what I want to do with these rankings, is go through the songs and also kind of talk about their origins and a little about them, and why I like it and don't like the song. To do this list, I kind of had to make 4 different tiers or categories. I had the great songs, the good songs, the okay songs, and the bad songs. I have to admit, Beatles do have some bad songs. Mostly good songs, but there are some ones that I just can't stand. I have to skip it, or I don't listen to it ever. Anyways, and I've re-listened to a lot of these songs, and I've listened to them and go, yeah, that's why they're at my bottom. There's almost unlistenable. A lot of the bottom ones are experimental songs. A lot of them are songs that are short and are kind of filler songs that aren't complete really. So they kind of are at the bottom of my list because they aren't not a lot of lyric content to them. Those kind of songs I don't like as much. I like the songs that have a little more lyrics content to them, of course. And what I love about the Beatles is their melodies and their harmonies, and of course their guitar playing and all that, bass playing, drumming, all that is great. So songs that don't have that in them, I put at the bottom of my list. Anyway, so I think I said enough intro to my list, and I'm going to do 8 songs today. There's about 30 songs I put in my bad category I'm going to start with. I'm going to try to do multiple songs per video, try to get through them quickly because I don't need to talk too much about those. And once I get to the good songs, then I think I'll just do one video on each of the good songs and really explore them a little more. So without saying, let's get to my list. At number 213, the worst Beatles song ever, in my opinion, maybe the worst song I've ever heard in my life, is Revolution 9, coming off of the White Album. And this is by far the worst. It seems like not even close. It's such a hard song to listen to. I re-listened to the song recently, and it felt like I was watching a horror movie. It felt like a soundtrack to a horror movie. It's just like there's some creepy music in there with you hear some talking, background talking, some weird sounds. It's very, I don't know, just very eerie and creepy song to me. Of course, it's not really even a song. There's really no music. Not really any lyrics to it. There's no singing, no harmonies, no melodies. It has nothing that I love about the Beatles in it at all. It's just some talking and some collage of sounds, as they say. This kind of comes from the avant-garde type art scene at the time in England, which John Lennon and Yoko Ono were a big part of. It definitely was influenced by Yoko Ono. She was really into this kind of weird art, as I would call it. Call it experimental, call it avant-garde. I'll call it weird. Everything that she does. And this kind of goes from that. And John Lennon and Yoko Ono would do the Primal Screaming later on when they'd come out with their albums like Two Virgins and Wedding, which are these, from what I've heard, are very unlistenable albums where it's just a lot of screaming and moaning because they're really into screaming. That was their thing. And so this kind of plays off of what they like. It's credited for Lennon McCartney, but it's really Lennon and Yoko Ono, I think, are the main culprits, I'm not saying the right word, of the song, as far as mixing everything together and editing the song. George Harrison had some contributions to it as well. Sounds like McCartney and Ringo didn't have really any contributions to the song. In fact, McCartney heard it and didn't really like it and didn't think it should be on the album. But Lennon very insistent that it should be on the album as this very experimental song. Nothing like anybody's ever heard before on a Beatles record, or any record probably, which I can imagine was just very polarizing at the time. If you're listening to the Beatles and the song comes up, you're like, what is this? This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. It has nothing that I like about the Beatles in it. So I'm sure it was a big turnoff. But the White Album was an album of experimental music, and so they put it in there because there's 30 songs. Why not throw something like this in there? And they did a lot of that at that time. It definitely didn't belong on anything. It kind of came out of course, it's called Revolution 9. There was also a song called Revolution 1 and Revolution, which John wrote. And this kind of came off of that. At the end of Revolution, they did a lot of these sounds, mixes and stuff. And they decided to take all that out of the Revolution song and just make it the song that we know. And then they decided to take that last part, the chaotic part, and just make its own song, which is what this is. And it's 8 minutes long. It's over 8 minutes long, which makes it even worse that it's the worst song and the longest song that they've ever recorded. Anyways, it's just really hard to listen to, in my opinion. So, and I know Stefan Redelsteiner likes the song, so I'm sorry. I just can't stand this one. So that's number 213, Revolution 9. Number 2 and 12, I got Wild Honey Pie, also off the White Album. And this is a song that it's honey pie. That's the only words. It's only 2 words, and they just repeat honey pie, honey pie, honey pie through a song. It's a really short song, 30 seconds or less maybe. Maybe the second short song they've made. It's up there anyways. And it seems it's Lennon McCartney, but it's mostly a McCartney song. He wrote a song called Honey Pie, which is on the White Album. And so he kind of did this song kind of after I think he did Honey Pie. He kind of came up with this little wild honey pie thing, kind of connected with that, I think. And it was just there's nothing to it. It's just a short song that he just kind of recorded. Has no meaning to it, really. And wasn't sure if he was going to put it on the album, but Patty Harrison, George's wife, liked it and said it should be on the album, so they put it on the album. So I guess we have to thank Patty Harrison for putting this on there, but there's just nothing to it. Like I said, it's just the same word over and over again. It doesn't really have any lyrical meaning to it. Nothing melody, harmony, or music-wise that's anything significant to listen to, and it's just a real short song. So, and I think from what I've heard from a lot of people, this is definitely towards the bottom of most of the lists I've seen of Beatles songs. So that's at 212. Number 211 on my list is a song called Flying, which you might even know that's a Beatles song. It's such an obscure song that nobody talks about or, doesn't even know exists. I think it's a song that I didn't know exists really until I was looking it up, and I was like, this must be a song that I just skip all the time, so I never knew it was there. It comes off the Magical Mystery Tour album. I believe it was in the Magical Mystery Tour's movie. It's kind of just an instrumental, I guess, and that's why I put it at 211. It's the only instrumental song that they have where there's no singing at all, and it's not terrible as an instrumental. But I mean, I listen to the Beatles because I love their singing, I love their harmonies and melodies. I don't listen to them for instrumentals, and so it's just Flying is just the most forgettable song on their discography or on their catalog of songs. Anyway, so I had to put that at 211. So I think it's contributed to all four Beatles writing the song together. Anyways, so 211 is Flying. Number 210 is Her Majesty, the shortest song they ever recorded, 23 seconds long. It's the very last song on the Abbey Road album. It's a Lennon McCartney song. Mostly it really was just McCartney who wrote it about the Queen. Her Majesty is referring to the Queen. And it's just kind of this little, like I said, very short ditty that he meant to put in between Mean Mr. Mustard and Polythene Pam, because the last part of the Abbey Road album is just a bunch of songs mixed together, just lost short, uncompleted songs. This is obviously very uncompleted, as it's only like one verse and that's it, and it just kind of abruptly ends. Of course, they met the Queen, so it's kind of Paul McCartney writing it about Queen Elizabeth, Her Majesty. It's almost kind of a little bit of a love song to her, but I mean, it's so short, it's hard to really analyze it too much lyrically. It's not like the worst thing in the world. It's just a know-nothing song, and it's the shortest song they came out with. And of course, it was supposed to be in between those two songs, but McCartney eventually decided just to edit the song out of the album. But the person who mixed the album together ended up putting Her Majesty at the very end after the end song, which would have been a perfect ending for the very last album, is the end. But then Her Majesty comes on after that, and so it's a weird placing on the album, of course. But a lot of people like it because it's again Beatles experimentation that people like, anyways. But yeah, there's nothing to that song, so I have it down at 210. Number 209 is a song called "Why Don't We Do It in the Road," coming off the White Album. And I love the White Album. It's one of my favorite albums. They have some of the worst songs on there and some of the best songs on there, in my opinion. It's a mixed match of songs because there's so many songs, 30 songs on there. But they did a lot of experimentation, a lot of different styles that they don't normally do. "Why Don't We Do It in the Road" is a Lennon McCartney song. It's written by Paul McCartney. And it's really, that's the only lyrics to the song is "Why Don't We Do It in the Road." He just repeats that over and over again. And there's a big kind of piano riff throughout. But the piano is not terrible. It's nothing great. Lyrically, it's just not much to the song. And like I said, I don't like songs that just have one phrase in it. A lot of those songs are at the bottom of my list. Paul McCartney wrote it because they were in India and he saw two monkeys fooling around in the road, so to say, doing some funny business. And he kind of came up with this, why don't humans do it in the road? How come animals do it anywhere and don't care who's watching? But humans, we don't. We, close the doors, close the blinds. Why don't we just do it out in the open, And kind of supposed to somewhat deeper meaning, I guess, to, the difference between animals and human beings. Of course, I tell Paul McCartney, human beings are made in the image of God. Monkeys aren't, animals aren't. That's the difference. We have morality, animals don't. It's totally different, subject matter, in my opinion. But so that's where he kind of came up with the idea of the song. And he kind of was doing more of a risque rock song that was more of a John Lennon thing. The thing I've read about the White Album, John Lennon was mostly known for the darker, more rock material. Paul McCartney is known for the more sweeter ballads. And you get to the White Album, and Paul McCartney does some of the heavier stuff like Helter Skelter. And then you got this song, Why Don't We Do the Road? And Lennon does songs like Julia and Goodnight. He writes some of the sweetest love song or, ballads that he's ever written for the White Album. Anyway, so it sounded like Lennon didn't like the fact that Paul McCartney was trying to do his style of music, which was interesting. Kind of riff they had at that time. And one thing I don't like about this song is just that the whole idea of the song, Why Don't We Do It in the Road? I don't like the sexual, implicit lyrics of the song. It just kind of leaves me kind of gross, I think it's kind of a gross idea. Anyways, that's why I have it at 209. Number 208 on my list is You Know My Name, Look Up the Number, which is a single, is the B-side of the Let It Be single. Before the Let It Be album came out, they came out with the Let It Be single. They had come with a B-side, and they throw this on there. Again, it's a song that just repeats the same lyrics over again. You know my name, look up the number. And that's the only lyrics. And it's just repeated over and over again for a little over 4 minutes. I think 4.5 minutes. So it's a little bit longer than some of these other songs I have on here. And it's just, it's just a silly song. And mostly it's a Lennon McCartney song that John Lennon really wrote. And from what I've read in this book, The Origin, sounds like he was looking at a telephone directory in London, and it said on it, look up their name, look up their number, or if you know their name, look up the number, something like that. It was kind of like a catchphrase for the directory. And I guess he looked at that and said, oh, let's just repeat that for a song. So it's just a silly song, nothing lyrically to it, nothing musically insignificant to it. It's definitely a song to skip. And 4.5 minutes is quite a long time just to repeat the same lyrics over again. So, definitely why it goes at number 208 on my list. Number 207 on my list is Maggie May, coming off the Let It Be album. You probably don't even know that's a Beatles song. In fact, I said this one time, I think, to somebody, Maggie May, and they said, Maggie May, that's not a Beatles song. Are you talking about the Rod Stewart song? Because he has a song, I think, called Maggie May. But no, it's a Beatles song, Maggie May. It's it's one of those under 40-second songs, filler songs that they did, and they put for some reason put on the Let It Be album. So it's a really incomplete song that really means nothing. And it's about and what was interesting, it was really out of a jam session. When they would start just jamming music, they would come across, older songs. And Maggie May was actually a song that's been sung since the 1800s, from what I read. And it's kind of a song that they sung in bars and clubs and stuff. And it's just a song about a prostitute named Maggie May who steals money from one of her clients and then gets imprisoned, I think, is basic. And so the lyrics always change anyways throughout the history of the song. People add different verses to it or whatnot. And so it's written by John Lennon, but it was really kind of a song that he took from what he heard from others. They think he probably heard it from Julia, his mother, when mother was teaching him how to play guitar. It was probably a song maybe she strummed and sang, and he heard it from her. She probably heard it from John Lennon's husband or father, Freddie Lennon, who was a merchant, a seaman or whatever. And so he probably was in a lot of bars where they sang the song. So it somehow probably got to him, to her, to John Lennon. So it's interesting, somewhat of an interesting story there, I think. But again, it's just a know-nothing, bar song, basically, that they just stuck on Let It Be for no reason. So it's at number 207. And then the last song I'm going to put on my list here, at number 206, is Dig It, which is also off the Let It Be album. And much like Maggie May, it's just a short song, 30-second song or whatever, of nonsense, just thrown on the Let It Be album as filler, I guess, in between songs. It's another one where they were just kind of jamming. And I guess what was popular, or what they liked to do at that time, is they would just kind of go into a jam session, and John would just start yelling out names of famous people, and the other Beatles would, and yell different stuff back out about that person that he yells out. Anyways, and I guess dig it means like you like that person maybe, or you dig that person. Anyway, so this whole song is just him yelling out different names. I think he even yells like CIA, FBI, BB King, one guy named Bugsy, who's like the manager of a soccer team, Manchester United, Doris Day, which I think is the weirdest or most obscure name kind of put on here. Obviously, she was a famous romantic actress at the time, but it's like all of a sudden Doris Day's name comes up, and I'm like, Doris Day. Like, if I ever did a Beatles trivia night, one of my trivia questions would be, what is the only Beatles song that has the name Doris Day in it, in the lyrics? And I don't know if anybody would get it, unless you're watching this video. The answer is Dig It. Has Doris Day's name in it. Anyways, so it's just a kind of a silly song where he's just yelling out names and people are yelling back. And anyways, very short song, kind of like Maggie May, just doesn't really have any meaning to it. Even forget that exists until you listen to the album and I'm like, oh, what's this song? Dig It. Anyway, so that's why it's at number 206 on my list. So there's first the worst 8 songs, in my opinion, of the Beatles. Anyway, so I'll keep going on this, hopefully, and eventually get to some better songs on here. But comment if you think I'm wrong. Are these good songs? I'm not getting it. Revolution 9, I'm sure some people would say that I just don't get that song. That's true. But yeah, just tell me what you think is maybe the worst Beatles song or some of the worst Beatles songs for you. And just thank you for watching this video and subscribing and supporting the channel. And I just really thank you and I appreciate it. Have a good day.